All right, welcome back, Saints fans. First post-game reaction show of 2019, 2020 season. That sound you hear is me having a goddamn heart attack. The Saints are a cardiac arrest waiting to happen. But, good news first. The streak is broken. 5 consecutive years, I think, couldn't win an opening day game. Referees up to their usual fuckboy shit. End of the first half. Yes, the 10-second runoff is the rule, even though it never should have been reviewed in the first place because he was easily and obviously at the yard to distance. But they had to review that, and they took away all the time we did on the 4th down that we ran where we did convert. But they basically took all the time we took to run that play, didn't run that back, and then took an additional 10 seconds on top of it because they just can't resist fucking over the Saints. And you know what? It's not a conspiracy if you're right. It's not a conspiracy theory if you're right, guys. It's just an observation. It's facts. But, that said, the refs did everything they possibly could to fuck them over. The Saints still won. Now there's a lot to talk about, and we're definitely going to get into a lot of things in tomorrow's show. A few things here. I thought Lattimore had a really strong game. A lot of DeAndre Hopkins' success came against other players. Getting him on a safety, getting him on a linebacker. There was the one play up the sideline where Lattimore just got beat. I don't know exactly what the cover was there, but that was bad. But bottom line, Lattimore was solid. I thought Eli Apple had a pretty good game. I thought the Saints defensive line was pretty good. Not great, other than Cam Jordan, who was fantastic as always. Davenport actually had a much better game than Saints Twitter will tell you. But still a lot of work to do for him. Trey Hendrickson had 2 sacks, one of which was a great play by him. The other which was like 95% Cam Jordan and 5% cleanup by him. But hey, it still counts on the stat sheet, and that's definitely a good thing to see. Anzalone and Davis did not have good games. The whole front 7 had a bad game against the run. Just bad run fits, terrible tackling. That stuff you can clean up, but it's stuff you really you don't like to see. So hopefully they can get that cleaned up, sooner rather than later. But I think a little bit of credit has to be given to the Texans. I mean, Duke Johnson is a very good running back. Carlos Hyde is a very one-dimensional running back, but he's a good runner of the football. He just can't do anything else, which other teams have tried to have him do. And none of that's making excuses. The run defense was bad. The run fits were poor. There were a lot of mistakes. Terrible, awful tackling. Probably could have had 3 more sacks in this game if they could just freaking tackle. But overall, you do also have to give credit to the opposition. Will Fuller, talent. Kenny Stills, talent. DeAndre Hopkins has a case for being the best wide receiver in football. And, I've said it before. I didn't mean it jokingly. He's the evolved form of Michael Thomas. He is everything Mike is, and then one step further. And does a great belly-to-belly suplex, although that was a dirty fucking play. He should have got thrown out of the game for that. That was a cheap shot on Marcus Williams, who, by the way, got an interception. He got an interception, so that means that he's the greatest safety ever, even if he had spent the whole game stopping all plays. It wouldn't have mattered. If he didn't get an interception, he's trash. Not actually a point anybody ever made, but he had a little bit of an up and down game. I don't know for sure if he was on the field or not for those last couple of big plays. One of them that was just on PJ. PJ Williams had a bad game. His value last year is that he was phenomenal in the run game, and he was solid in coverage, unless you put shifty guys on him. Well, they put shifty guys on him, and he got torched there. But he wasn't really helping in the run game today. And if he's not doing that, there's just no reason not to play Patrick Robinson over. Now, Robinson, may very well be still banged up. We saw him leave in not great shape at the end of the preseason. So, there's that element there. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Gardner Johnson take over for the slot if Robinson isn't healthy. Sooner than later, if PJ keeps struggling like this, he's just getting torched. And it just can't happen. He'll make a great play, and then he'll make an okay play, and then he'll make a terrible play, and you just can't have that kind of inconsistency. But bottom line, at the end of the day, the Saints win. The Saints are 1-0, and a lot of the Saints' struggles can be attributed to two things. Number one, there was some bad, sloppy football, and it shouldn't be the expectation for the first week, but with this team, it really does tend to be that way. And Sean Payton acknowledged it afterwards. There was a lot of sloppy play. Historically, they have picked things up as they go, so there's some reason for optimism there. But then the other component is also, let's give credit where it's due. I know we're going to shit on the defense, and for some of the stuff, they absolutely deserve it. The Texans should never go 75 yards in two plays. That just should never happen, period, the end. But let's give Houston some credit, too. Deshaun Watson is a fucking animal. He's a fantastic quarterback. That offensive line's trying to kill him, but he is a fantastic quarterback. And that offense is full of weapons. Duke Johnson is very, very good. Extremely underrated. Carlos Hyde is what he is, but he's solid. DeAndre Hopkins is a monster. Will Fuller is a really, really good player. Kenny Stills is a very good player. Let's give them some credit. A good offense is going to put up 27 points on you, especially when you shoot yourselves in the foot. I think this game goes very differently if Drew doesn't throw that pick in the red zone. I think if the Saints start this game off with a touchdown, I think they build up confidence quicker. And obviously some credit goes to the Texans again. They made some plays, but sometimes those little things matter. The first half they definitely were off their game. They turned it around for the most part in the second half. But bottom line, look, the Texans are a solid team. They've been a playoff team a lot. But here's just a few highlights to take from the game. Number one, Ryan Ramczyk is a fucking animal. He erased J.J. Watt, which a lot of people pointed out on Twitter, and I'm definitely going to repeat it. I thought it was hilarious. J.J. Watt, a few years ago, told Drew Brees he needed to get a new right tackle. So he did. And he erased J.J. Watt. So that was really good to see. Like I said before, Trey Hendrickson had a good game. Michael Thomas had a very good game. Alvin Kamara is still fucking ridiculous. His ability to maintain his balance and evade tackles is absolutely unreal. And it's, I don't know if I've ever seen a player. I'm sure someone will be able to think of one, but I've never seen a player who can do what he can do. He's a stud. And I still stick by with what I've said before, which is he's the best running back in the NFL. So I thought those guys were really good. Ted Ginn showed up. Traquan made one play. It was a very important play. Devontae Harris. Seriously, can we just ban diminutive humans from wearing the number of 11 in black and gold? Because it really seems to come with, there's an aura of retardation around that frickin' number. Like, whoever wears it just does extraordinarily stupid things. Somewhat, not really, but somewhat pass for him. It's your first game, Monday Night Football as a rookie. You had a brain fart. Okay. However, don't do that again. Like, don't be the Death Midget 2.0. Don't curse that number any further. Just change to a new number. Find another one. I don't care. Number 3, whatever's available. Number 5, matches your height. Whatever. Just get the fuck out of 11. Like I said, yeah, there's a lot to go over. I'm gonna kind of rewatch things later tonight. We'll definitely be doing the show tomorrow to go with the post game. Get Patrick and Chris on here. But I'll just close it with saying Will Lutz has a giant fucking pair on him, and it's awesome. And he that thing might have been good from 62 or 63. He blasted that. That second it left his foot, there was no doubt that the game was over. That was awesome. Sean Payton, not a big fan of. It's gonna get shit on more than I think it should, but just situationally, I'm not a big fan of really 2 play calls from him. Other than that, I thought the game plan was fine. I thought it worked. I thought they executed it well. I wasn't a big fan of the throw the ball to Josh Hill in the backfield and expect him to make any human miss. Like, I joked Ralph from the Happy Hour podcast could tackle him, and I'm not sure I'm wrong. And Ralph is a self-described cripple. That play, and then the stretch run to Kamara on second down, on their second to last offensive possession. Just run it up the gut. Smash it with Murray again. It's just a better play. Even if you only gain 2 on it, you're still in a better position than where they put themselves. I didn't like the play. Now, yeah, Alvin, if he makes that last guy miss, he probably picks up 6 or 7, and it's a totally different conversation. And it is definitely a, you're grading the play call based on the way it was executed, not on the viability of the call itself. I understand all of those components. They're real factors, but playing the odds and the situation, run the ball down their throat if you can. Try to kill the clock, try to end the game right there, and then those last 2 minutes don't fucking happen. But like I said, is what it is. The Saints win. The Saints are 1-0. The rest of the NFC South is 0-1. So let's go ahead and get to the questions and comments. Trey versus Tremaine is just doing a Drake gif. Ironically, I'm sure it's someone else's GIF that created it, which is a perfect thing for Drake. But yeah, that's pretty. The shocked face is pretty much the perfect reaction for the ending of that game. Swift Banks says he's got a hell of a lot of negative takes about DA in the secondary, but tonight the only question is, how big are Will Lutz's nuts? Well, if you've watched South Park, there's an episode where Randy puts his balls in a microwave. They're that big. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about DA and the secondary tomorrow. I think Ian Howard, who was a guest on the podcast recently, had a great tweet. DA loves to call a ton of zone defense, and he doesn't have a lot of zone players. And tonight was a night where that bit you in the ass. Now, part of that is the Texans have a lot of weapons. Like, it does not get talked about enough. They have a lot of weapons. And Deshaun Watson is really, really good and makes a lot of things happen. But still, I don't think Dennis Allen had a great game. I think B.J. Williams had a terrible game. I think Marcus Williams had a very good game with, upon further review, potentially a couple of boo-boos, but yeah, I thought the linebackers in general, just terrible tackling, the defensive line up and down tackling, but DA did nothing to help the players. I actually thought the coverage for the secondary was pretty good overall, other than P.J. Williams. This is definitely one of the best handles. Saint that a bitch. Just wants to say, what a second half. Can't come up with a question right now. Just wow. This is the kind of win that should shut up those who think we aren't strong enough to bounce back after all the BS the last 2 years. Again, this is something we'll definitely spend some time on tomorrow, but I think this is actually a really good point. This is the type of game, as much as it's just so goddamn unnecessarily stressful for us as fans, this is the type of game that can really help a team, especially in the situation the Saints were in. They came out not really flat, but they just didn't execute. And they made a few mistakes, and they put themselves in bad spots, but they managed to pull it together and then get in a position to win, and then they screwed it up, and then they stole it back. And that last part really matters, because if they lose this game, and they lose it that way, that's the type of loss that can cause you to unravel. That's the type of loss where then you go into, the Rams, Seattle, and Dallas going, we have to win 2 out of 3, and these are really tough games to even have a chance, and we just choked again, and there's that voice in the back of your head going, is that who we are? And instead, you're looking yourselves in the mirror going, we did everything we could to beat ourselves, and we still won. Now let's go get revenge on the Rams, and then let's go look at those other 2 teams, and you're going in there with confidence that we can be the better team and we can beat these guys. It doesn't guarantee anything, but I think this is the type of win, and especially avoiding this type of loss is extraordinarily impactful for the team. So, way to the world. Mind on another level. Just why would you play press man with under a minute left when Lattimore gotten beat over the top by Nuke a couple times in the game already? Well, Lattimore's best coverage is press man. And DA is a Greg Williams disciple, so he's going to blitz. There's a question of, was Williams supposed to be over there on that side to help out, to take away that over-the-top play? I think a few people have suggested it was. I think Sean might have said something about it. I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to state it as fact, but there may have been a blown assignment. But that situation against that team, I'd rather go press man and go man up with your best play than having your guys do something they're not great at, which is the zone. And yeah, they got beat, and that's probably on the safety, but you do what you can. Saints running back revenge tour. DeBoss John says, can't ignore that it's been 3 years now of PJ getting burnt like butter. And if you're burning butter, you gotta stop cooking. Only true weakness I see in our team. Run defense will improve with Rank and Onyemata's return. Not really worried about that, but slot corner is a must-solve. Who can we trade for? 3rd through 5th rounder for who? I don't think they're going to give up a draft pick for it, at least until, if Patrick Robinson can't go, and CJ, Gardner can't, Gardner Johnson can't fill the spot, then they might look to make a trade, but otherwise, I don't see it happening. And as much as fans like to talk about it, and he did, with P Rob getting burnt crispy in preseason, pretty much all of those burnt plays were plays to the outside where his ball awareness was a problem, and that's always been P Rob's issue. He's also been one of the league's best slot cover corners for a long time, and especially against those quicker, shiftier guys. So I wouldn't give up hope after one game, but we'll see. So that pretty much wraps it up for all of the questions. Keep this one pretty short. Wish I was a little bit more animated, but honest to God, after the end of that game, I'm fried mentally and emotionally. I don't know what the hell's going on. I just know that we won. I don't know if we deserve to win, but I know we won, and that's what I'll go with. So, be happy about the win. We're 1-0. We're at the top of the division. We've got a tough next 3 games coming ahead, but it's really because of this win. You really only need to go 1-2 to be in a really good spot for the rest of your schedule. And if you go 2-1, now you're really cooking with grease. And if you go 3-0, then this team is really putting themselves in a very strong position. But it's one game at a time. We'll come out with something for you guys tomorrow. Hope everybody enjoyed the game, and hope the Saints win a little bit more convincingly next week. Because, good God, if the Saints try to defend Kamara the way they try to defend Christian McCaffrey, I hope you guys have him in fantasy, because it's going to be nasty.
Hey yo, the Saints is gon' win it. Go Super Bowl and let's kill it. We don't care what team or what city. Say we don't care.